Hi everyone and welcome back to Alejandro HD. And today I thought I would talk about Jackie Chan's First Strike. Now, as you know, I'm a massive Jackie Chan fan. Like, I've probably made, I think this is my fourth Jackie Chan film uh, review or my thoughts on because I can't get enough. So today I thought I would talk about one of the classics that really brought me into his films, and that is First Strike. I've got a little bit of a story uh, before I begin the actual review of the film. So if you bear with me, I want to share the story. My granddad used to tape films that were on the television. So he would take like a blank VHS copy of a film or of a blank copy, sorry, and he'd put it in his video player. And if there was a film shown on Channel 4 or wherever, he'd film it and then he would give it to me, and then that'd be my film, that'd be my program, or for whatever. And he would make like a bunch of copies every week, and they'd be like usually like cartoons, so Tom and Jerry, uh, you know, like things that you'd find on Cartoon Network. And then he discovered First Strike first, and he made a film of it. He videoed, like he taped over it in the blank videotape and gave it to me. And he would get a strip of paper and he'd write down the name of the film and he would like sellotape it over the videotape so I know which one was which. And it would always be like Tom and Jerry episode whatever, or Dexter's Laboratory, or Johnny Bravo. And then this one obviously was a film, and he was like, "I think you'll like this. Give it to me." And of course, I watched it when I was younger. Um, it probably didn't resonate with me as much as I did when I rewatched it as a younger adult, and then of course now. But I just really love that, like that story to know that he was probably my first ever influence into Jackie Chan as a person, like as a film movie maker. I don't think he really cared that much about, like my granddad. He didn't really care much about who he was or anything like that. I just think he thought I would have found it really cool because I was into martial arts and stuff as a child, still am. Um, so yeah, so that was my little story. Sorry about that. Now to get on to the real thing, I've got my notepad here. So the film itself, the fourth installment of the Police Story franchise. I've already made a video about a new Police Story, as in like the revamped Police Story that came out, I think, a few years after this First Strike came out, because the original came out in like the late 80s, early 90s, and then the second one, third one. This is the fourth one, so we're going to talk about the fourth one. I've seen the other ones, but we're just going to focus on the fourth one. There's a few things I really wanted to talk about with this, and one of the first ones was, if you ever watch this film, depending on which version you watch of it, there's different versions. So there's like the dubbed version, like the fully dubbed version. Everything's in English, which is atrocious. I'm not gonna lie, but the original one, the one that I was talking about in the very first, like the first one I ever watched, my granddad made a video copy of it. Every scene, like where there was a Chinese person talking like Jackie Chan and his uncle, if there was the Russian part, if there was an English speaking part, it was all not dubbed. It was all like original actors, and I could not for the life of me find the original film where they had all the different dubs. The furthest one I found was, or the most recent one I found was the English dub over Chinese, which originally Jackie Chan's English wasn't great, so he would have the English dub over his Chinese, which was okay, but if anyone knows where I can find the absolute original one, where you had the Russians speaking Russian, Chinese speaking Chinese, and the English speaking English, please let me know, because I need to know where that film. I need to know. I need to rewatch that original film. The copy I have, unfortunately, is it's gone, which is a shame because you it's lost to time somewhere. Um, but yeah, that's the one thing. I think the one key thing about this film that I really enjoyed the dubbings. The plot itself, very Jackie Chan motif, like very, oh, he's a cop, he's got to go do something, and he gets in trouble, and then there's a whole fight scene, and we love it. He gets himself into shenanigans, and it's all very clean-hearted, nice, original 1990s Jackie Chan. You know that period. of his film, probably my favorite. I've already made videos about the other ones, but yeah, that area is just so cool, so peak. I made some notes. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the ladder scene. And I've already made a video of my favorite. It was my video number 50, so way back now. Different fight scenes of all the different films that I've just really enjoyed. But the ladder scene was just incredible. That would have taken so many takes. We obviously see the bloopers. Just everything about that was just on point, peak. Really, really good. Really loved it. Um, I've also mentioned. Oh, what have I mentioned? Do, 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 do. Yes, a really interesting point. So the villain, well, the main villains, he had like the little henchman. There's a guy with glasses, right? And I don't know, I've not checked, but if you've ever watched Rumble in the Bronx, I think that the guy in the Rumble in the Bronx is the same guy who's in First Strike. The guy with the glasses, very hench, sort of the leader of the henchmen. I don't know if it's a complete and utter certainty that he's the same guy, but I think they are. And I made that point to bring that up because I thought that was really cool. Like, I think it was First Strike and then Rumble in the Bronx. I think it might have been it might have been Rumble in the Bronx first, and then First Strike. I can't quite remember. I know one's 97 and then one's 96, but I can't remember exactly which one's which. Off the top of my head right now. But I think the same guy, and it's the guy with the glasses, and is in the First Strike and Rumble in the Bronx. If not, then they've got a guy who looks exactly like him, and that's really interesting as well. So I just wanted to bring that little point up. I thought that was a really interesting detail. Also, the scene where Jackie is engaging with a homeless guy, and he's like hit the wall, and he like hits the wall. It's just comedy, peak comedy. Everything about this film is so enjoyable, especially if you're watching it from a family-friendly point of view. I mean, there is obviously violence, shooting, guys fighting, and all that sort of stuff, but there's a really nice comedic sense to it. There's the scene where Sui and Jackie are in the car, and Sui like forces them to like like take his clothes off with his gun, and he's making him sing, and then like the dog comes up and tries to bite him. That's just brilliant. And then of course you've got the underwater scene with the shark and the blood. Like that's like I mean when you think about how daring you'd have to have been back in those days to even think about making a film where you're actually underwater with sharks. I mean, it's probably edited to a point where like it's not really it's not really there. I mean, there's there by the point, but there's no CGI. There's a lot that they have to like risk to make these scenes possible. So things like that, I just absolutely love. The whole thing with the double agent and the FBI, FSB and all that, the Russian guy, Yuri guy, that was a really cool little point they made there. And yeah, it's just generally it's a feel good film. I mean, I think if it was released today, there's probably a lot that they wouldn't be able to, you know, show stereotypes and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, if you've got an hour and 30 minutes to spare, give this a watch. I really, really, really recommend Jackie Chan's First Strike. It's such a good film. I'll give that a solid 8 out of 10, as I give most Jackie Chan films. Acting is always good. It's never great because of the dubbing and stuff. I always feel a little bit jarred from that. But that's my own fault. I probably could find an original Chinese version somewhere, but you know, I'm not going to learn Chinese. Uh, and then the rest of the acting is okay. But yeah, what really sells it is the action, the comedy, and just generally being a great Jackie Chan film. And there's so much love about it. And if you haven't watched it, I recommend you do because it's a hidden gem. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.